Just 6 months ago, I put out a video of curriculum picks for my 4-year-old son. And I said in that video that it would probably keep us busy for 6 months-ish. I was right. I have an entirely new collection of curriculum that will be starting for this semester, hopefully lasting us another 6 months. Hi guys, I'm Kathleen Lewis, a homeschool graduate and a homeschool mom to two, one of which is a 4-year-old who is gifted. And as a gifted individual myself who just recently found that out about a year ago, I can tell you that the love of learning is probably one of the big things that gifted people are known for. Just wanting to keep going, diving in, getting information as fast as possible. It's a bane of our existence, as well as a joy too. So behind me, I have a whole bunch of piles that I've put together that will hopefully keep us covered for the next 6 months. I'm trying to gear my son more towards independence, but a lot of this back here is going to be me heavily involved still because he is still learning to read. So let's see. Let's start with math. Okay, we are still staying with RightStart Math. We finished level A in December and it's working for us. It is manipulatives based, mostly very little writing, so I think level B is going to work well. It is theoretically designed for a first or second grader, depending on the kid's level, and I'm doing it with a 4-year-old, which makes me nervous, but at the same time, I have to remember I need to meet my kid where he's at, and we'll just go from there. One thing that is an issue with gifted kids is drills. We really hate meaningless, and I'm going to put that in quotes, meaningless repetition. So to get around that, I have some math games that I'm going to do with my son. Now, these are probably too easy, but I'd rather start on the easy level, just to make sure we have our basic math facts all pat before we move on to the other math facts. So we're going to be doing at least one day of game schooling, probably on Fridays. I try to make Fridays our fun days. So we have Jump 2. This is skip counting by 2. And then we have Clumsy Thief Jr., which is math facts of 10. Now, 10 math facts he's already really good at, but I wanted to make sure, as I said, he had his math facts down for 10. And Clumsy Thief, the regular version, I think, was a little bit beyond him at this point. So at least we have a fun game that he can play with for math facts. One more thing I'm doing for math that I've casually done actually over the last 2 or 3 years is Mobius noodles. This I stumbled upon when he was 2, I think. It is from a website for natural math. These are a whole bunch of mathematicians that are trying to get kids excited about doing math, and I love the way they do this. So this is self-published. You can buy a physical copy on Amazon, or you can buy a digital copy from them on their website, which I'll link down below, and just spend however much you want. Or, as I did, you can download it for free, take a look to see if you're even going to use it, and then go back and pay them money for what you think it's worth to you. In here, there's a whole bunch of ideas on math type games. So there's some symmetry play that you can do. There's fractals that they introduce you to. They have math in here for you to play with babies, toddlers, and then elementary age children. I'm skeptical about the baby one, really skeptical about the baby one, but the toddler version has been very fun for my son. One of the first games in here that we did was the function machine. My son, I think, was 2 when we did this, and he was hooked. It is basically a fun way to teach really young kids the concept of formulas and functions. So to play this game, your child, say you play with animal figurines. Your child puts a sheep animal figurine into one part of the function machine, which would be, in my case, my hand here, and then I put it behind my back. or under a pillow or whatever. And then out the other side of the function machine is spit another animal. So in goes a sheep, out comes a horse. In goes a horse, out comes a sheep. In goes a pig, out comes a chicken. And they'll figure out the pattern after a while. And it's really fun for them to start predicting what animal comes out of the machine. So you can make this as simple or as complicated as you want. My son was addicted. He loved playing this game for a while. So I'm going to keep doing this. There's a lot of fun games in here that my daughter will be able to play as well. My son, since he's older, will love to play. And this is probably going to be, again, part of our fun edition, maybe once a week. There are more books out there on this website you can get in the same way. The books for the older kids have really good critical thinking for solving math problems, and that one is definitely on my list for the future. Okay, next is language. So we are still in All About Reading Level 1, and that is working for us. We're going to move on to All About Reading Level 2 probably in February is my guess. What I have figured out about All About Reading for a Gifted Kid is it is a lot of extra stuff in here, extra activities that he doesn't necessarily need, and it's kind of slowing him down unnecessarily. So I started modifying it a bit more extensively in December when we were doing this. Instead of just skipping half of the activities, I think I'm just going to start teaching him rules, just like a whole bunch all together, because he learns the rules just like that. And then from there, he's needing real-time practice, because I can sit down with him at the table and he can read one word super easily. But actually sitting down reading a whole book or a whole story in a book is daunting. He second guesses himself all the time. He is a perfectionist. You can tell that with his reading. He doesn't want to say the wrong thing, so he's hesitant about moving too fast or actually sounding out a word. So I have a little bit of struggle with that, which is why I'm going to teach him all the rules I can so he can move on to the Usborne readers that I have for him. And this right here, he's already in love with these books. This is another Usborne reader. This is The Farmyard Tales for Poppy and Sam. This is a dual reader. So I am reading this story down here and he's reading this up here. So if he wanted to, he could read each of these stories by just reading the top. You can understand the stories for that. But it is a lot more fun to do dual reading. So he would read his part and then I read my part. Additionally, this book has the CD, and this is how he's been enjoying his book for, I think, 2 years now. There's a CD in here that reads. There's also another section of the CD where he can read his part and then the CD reads the parent part down here. So there's many options. And as soon as he knows all of the rules, probably a lot of them are coming from here as well, we can start reading this book as well as finish the rest of the Usborne readers here, which are also dual readers. So this is a lot simpler than where he is at with All About Reading Level 1 right now. This is very easy in length. The rules, again, he needs to get caught up on those because All About Reading goes through them fairly slowly. But the length of what he actually reads in one of these stories is a lot shorter than what they're doing in these books. Let's do the big curriculum here. I had a video come out last month deciding what to do for a core curriculum for this semester. I did choose 2, and if you want to see that video, it is right up here. But the big first choice is Blossom and Root Level 4, the engineering, physics, and then the second half of this is anatomy. Let me get all the books out here. Okay, so there is a big stack of books here. There's a few components to it. Blossom and Root is a Great curriculum that was made by a mom for her own kids, and it is a digital download. So right here I have the parents guide and then the laboratory guide. I am not using the notebook because my son is 4, he's not writing on his own, and it's just something extra that I'm going to have to keep track of as a scribe for him. So I'm choosing to leave that out. There are 3 main things that I'm using from here. So if you guys want to see a flip through, let me know and I can put that together for you. And I'm definitely doing a review probably at the end of this semester once I know a lot more about the content here. But there's a few key parts that I'm going to be using from here. So each week is put together as a unit. For this, they have 1 week of one wonder. She calls her units wonders. 1 wonder for physics and 1 for engineering that she suggests you do 1 of those each a week. And then when you get to anatomy, you only have 1 wonder a week. So the first half of this is a little bit more content heavy than the second half. My guess is that we're going to do 1 wonder a day. So I might go through 4 wonders in a week because like I said, we have fun day Fridays. But I might take it easier on myself and just do 2 or 3 wonders a week. I'm not sure her pace in that yet. As I said, 1 wonder is designed to be 1 week, but she has written out here the key facts that you want to teach your child. And then she has very well laid out sections of additional stuff you can add in beyond just reading what she has in the book. So there's the minimalist section, which is basically her spines, assigned pages from her spines. And then there's the book basket, so all the extra books you could want from the library. There's a whole bunch of YouTube videos that she has linked to, or many times TV shows, especially Magic School Bus. Then there's also activities from the laboratory guide that you can do, and if you want to add it in there, the student notebook. So there's a whole bunch of resources in here, and that's one of the main things I loved about this, because our cultural studies that I was putting together for my son, I need a break from, we were basically doing that. We had a whole bunch of books that we went through, a whole bunch of videos that I put out for him, and then a few activities that I did. So this is very familiar to us, this style of learning. For the spines, for the anatomy, she has the fantastic body and then the DK human body. She does not require both of them. I got both of them because this one is very good for pictures and visual, but there's not a whole lot of text content. This one is a lot more textbooky style, which my son is used to and interested in. I would say 5th grade level content. I'm not positive. I'm actually not that good at guessing at grade levels just because of my gifted background. But it is great pictures in here, not as beautiful as the DK book, but there's a lot more text. Let me show you the DK book as well. So this is what the DK book looks like. We will probably not be getting to anatomy this semester. Instead, we'll save that maybe for the fall. I'm not sure. Fall, summer, somewhere around there. The other spines for the physics and engineering section is the DK Exploratorium of Science. This is a classic DK as well. Good visuals, a lot of good details. This is probably more rated for junior high, high school in its content. But my son has been exploring books like this already for astronomy. So I think you can definitely handle this. Other suggestion she has is Professor Astrocat's Atomic Adventure. It's very cartoonish and has a bit more details on the physics and chemistry side. We'll see how much he understands from this. I'm just going for exposure at this point. Then she also suggested engineering design at work for the first several sections. And this is a lot more text in here. There was one other book. Oh, And then the other main spine is this book, which I had. This is the older version. I did not get the updated version, so we'll see how that changes. But David Macaulay's How Stuff Works, and it's really beautifully done pictures talking about different machines, different sections of science. So suction machines we have here. This is definitely probably going to be Stephen's favorite book that we read this semester. There is one more book that I got from my haul, which if you want to see that video, check up here. There's a whole bunch of books that I got for this year, and just future reference. The Engineering in Plain Sight book, I chose not to include that here because, as I mentioned in that video, there is a lot more text than I expected. I expected a lot more pictures. And also that involves more civil engineering, which we're probably not going to get too much of in here. This is more classic physics and simple engineering concepts. So I still love the book. I would say it's definitely a good choice for junior high, high school. I'm going to keep it on our shelves for years, and when Stephen's ready to delve more into the subject of civil engineering, it'll be there for him. Okay, so this last stack of books right here is what I have for the first two, three, no, I think it's 3 or 4 wonders. I think I have a setup for 1 week. So as you can see, there's a lot of books involved with this. This would be 4 wonders worth, or in the context of the curriculum, 2 weeks worth of reading material. And I don't have all the suggestions. There's a couple books that I could not find, which I found YouTube videos, read alouds for, that I'll be giving to my son on his YouTube Kids app. And then, of course, there's all the YouTube videos that she suggests that I'm just going to load onto his YouTube Kids app. So we'll be doing these books together, and then when he needs something to keep him occupied in the afternoon, he'll have his YouTube Kids app with all these other content that he can watch on his own. Depending on how fast we go through the blossoming root level for science, just the physics and engineering, I have a second option back here for science as well. And that would be the Sassafras Adventures Geology. This is a audiobook that I can get, and we've listened to the zoology portion, and Stephen loved it. It is quirky. It is kind of in the style of Mary Pope Osborne's Magic Tree House, a little bit more advanced in style and content, but it is just as quirky and far-fetched. I mean, extremely far-fetched with its plot line, and it is not seamless without how it teaches science. So this, I would say, introduces the science concept in a fun way, in a novel format, and then from there you use the logbook and the guide, which is the parent's guide, to flesh out the topics. So just picture this as the fun introduction, the fun, quirky introduction to the material, and then this is the meat right here. In the Sassafras Guide, there is the grid schedule that you can use, or the list schedule of all the optional content for that week. And one chapter is designed to go for 1 week. And then there's a whole bunch of extra stuff you can add on beyond the novel, and it's listed in this book. So there's the spine, which I chose the Children's Encyclopedia from Usborne. And there's other encyclopedia options you can have from here. And then there's a whole bunch of additional library books you can have for each week. And from there, there's also notebooking suggestions that you do. Also, there's scientific experiments and activities that go along with it. So it is kind of, I would say, a pared down version of Blossoming Root, but a little bit more formal, I would say a lot more classical, with its notebooking and content and approach. So It's trying to be Charlotte Mason with its living book, but I would not call this a living book, to be honest. I would say it's a quirky novel. A living book would have a lot better fusion between the science and the story, which it's not that great of. So just be aware of that. I'm I'm very much looking forward to exploring it. We have done earth science with Apologia. They did not have as much geology as I'd like in there, so we're going to try this. This is supposed to be neutral in content, and I forgot to mention that Blossom and Root is secular. And since we are a Christian household, I will be probably modifying a little bit when I get to the anatomy, just because there are just some things that my 4-year-old is not ready to discuss. And that's also one of the reasons I chose the level 4 rather than one of the younger levels, because there's just going to be a lot less that I have to modify for our family values. But this material here is supposed to be neutral. So far I agree. There's nothing overtly Christian, nothing overtly secular in its content. It does not address, that I've seen, it does not address evolution, and it does not have any mention of God in the material. So I'll let you guys know if that holds true. One other book that I did get as a spine is this Smithsonian DK Elementals book. I'm excited about this one. Each element in the periodic table is shown in all the many forms you can find it in the world. So this is what nickel looks like. And then these are many objects that have nickel, and it goes through that for the entire periodic table. Yes, we're not studying chemistry, but since there is a lot of references to minerals in here, and finding it in pure form, what it looks like in this book, I think would be a very good extension of what we're learning. Okay, I know I've showed you guys a lot of books, and quite honestly, I think we spend 45 minutes to an hour each day reading books. What I've showed you from Blossom and Root is not going to fill that time, and my son is 4. He is very much in love with the typical 4-year-old books. So there's one more thing that I'm going to add to our reading list, and that is a whole bunch of ideas from the Read Aloud Revival book lists. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to rate our own bookshelves, which is here. This is what I pulled down for this week. We've got some Bernstein Bears, Interrupting Chicken, some Elephant and Piggy, and this is actually one of our favorites. My son fell in love with this one when he was about 18 months, and it is held true. My daughter loves it. My son still loves it. So Melissa Ewai, I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name, but I really love her as an author. So go out and check out her books. But yeah, that's what we have from our own collection this week. There's also 2 other books that I'm adding just for fun. One is The Mysteries of the Universe. This is also by DK. My son is an astronomy enthusiast, so we're going to be reading this book. It has a whole bunch of real photos from NASA of various things in our solar system, and then of course later in the back of the universe itself. So each spread is very readable, a couple paragraphs, but very detailed discussion of what you're seeing in the picture or a particular topic that you're studying. And we've been reading this already, and he definitely is in love with it. Now, also keeping in the same realm of the engineering part, I have engines. For Christmas, my son got an engine, I think a 6-cylinder engine that he put together with my husband. It was plastic. You can go check out the video. I'm going to link that down below. But this I got from the library. It is from the adult section. But it is a very good discussion of various parts of engine, history of engine. I am not going to read the entire book with them, but there's sections of this, particularly about the history of engines and some of the basic parts of the engine, that I think he would find really fun, particularly because he's also in love with the movie Cars. He's went to the NASCAR race with us this last fall. And yeah, anything that has to do with moving parts and motors, he's enthralled with. So we'll see how far we get through that. That's just going to be something fun, casual. Probably save that for Fun Day Fridays. And yeah, he'll have a blast with that. Okay, so transparency right here. I am starting to get a little overwhelmed with everything I've got going on. Trying to keep up with a gifted kid is exhausting, as I've mentioned in previous videos. So yeah, I'm sure many of you out there can relate. If you've enjoyed what I have so far, we have one stack left, but if you've enjoyed what I have so far, bump that like button, let me know it. I'm gonna take a quick break and get some chocolate in me. Okay, last stack, and it's actually a lot more content, some of which you might be surprised at. Okay, first up is handwriting. This I got from the Timberdoodles pre-K curriculum kit a few years back. Stephen was a couple years ahead on their curriculum kits. And since he was not ready for this form of handwriting, I held off. I'm not enthralled with this, but my goal is just to get him more familiar with letter formation, remembering how to do that. I am planning on a different handwriting in the future, but since I had this, I'm just throwing this in. This is done by readinglesson.com, Mount Castle Company. So yeah, that's his handwriting this year. I do love doing logic with him, making sure he has that. I bought this, full disclosure, last summer. I had 2 parts that I bought, and this is way too easy for him. This is the OLSAT Test Prep Level A for grades pre-K through kindergarten. I'm looking at some of the stuff in here for kindergarten, and yeah, he already knows it. But he generally does enjoy logic puzzles, and that's most of what this is. But I think maybe just something fun to throw in on Fridays, just to keep up with his logic abilities. I have to find something that is along these lines in logic puzzles that's workbook style, but at a appropriate level. And if you guys have ideas, let me know. I love the Critical Thinking Company, and that's what this is from, but I have to figure out exactly which book and which level in there he'd be at. We are a Christian family, and so we're hopefully going to be doing this. This is A is for Adam from Answers in Genesis, published by Master Books, which is a Christian curriculum company. It is going through some of the basics of the doctrines in the Bible. It's designed apparently for preschool or kindergartens. I honestly think this would be better for a first or second grader, in my opinion. I don't think this is preschool level material that they're trying to teach here. But my 2-year-old may surprise me with her attention span, and I don't know how it will work. We'll see. One thing my son has been asking me about a lot within this last year, and particularly the last 6 months, especially right around election time, was government questions and how their community works, how our society works. So I went looking because I've been answering the questions, but I wanted to make sure I had a good foundation. Making sure that I didn't have any holes explaining to him how our community and government works. So I went looking for a traditional type textbook that talks about basically social studies. And I went back to something I grew up with. I did not like their original textbook, but their updates, I'm definitely liking what I see. So this is the BJU Press Family and Community Heritage Studies. The content covers family, community, jobs, our land, our nation, and our history. So there's a tiny bit of American history in here, and this is for first grade. Yes, I'm well aware I am doing first grade level material with my 4-year-old, but look at that text. Compare that to some of the other books I've showed you. This is easy peasy for him. So in here, I think it's a very good basics on social studies. I'm not planning on using this for the entire semester. I'm thinking I'm going to read 1 section a day. It might take us a month to get through it. And yeah, I'm just wanting to make sure I have my bases covered there. Last piece here, and one of you did ask me about it. In my last curriculum video, I mentioned I wanted to teach my son piano. I have not gotten to this yet. I was at the time not sure how to fit it in with, at the time, an 18-month-old who wanted to get in the way every time I went to play the piano. So I knew if I sat down to try to give my son piano lessons, it would be a total no-go. So this is the Wonder Keys piano book. I think this is a great compromise for him not being technically ready to learn piano yet, but wanting to go that way. So it has introduction to the keyboard, introduction to rhythm, learning what the note names are, learning how long to hold each note, and it is some fun cartoonish type stuff in there. I think I'm gonna try to involve this with our Fun Day Fridays. I'll let you guys know how that goes. Okay, that's it. That's all I've got for him for this semester. If you guys have any questions, be sure to drop that down in the comments. If you want to see what my daughter has for her curriculum, because I did pick out her curriculum for her, check this video right here. If you want to see what I have for their fun stuff in their fun boxes, because I do a fun kids box every January to break up the January doldrums, check this video right here.